lead right now.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's halftime. Could be a lot worse, could be a lot better. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals halftime show. Cardinals, Rams 13-6. What a weird first half. What a weird-ass first half. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Thanks for hanging out at Twitter Spaces if you're hanging out. Thanks for hanging out on YouTube if you're hanging out there. Please follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards on Twitter as well. Cardinals trail 13-6 at halftime. Cardiac Cardinals is right. I never wanted to call them that, but sweet mother, what are we experiencing here? It seems like the Cardinals just can't get out of the gate quickly. And you'd think that after 2 weeks of the same thing, they would make it a point to get out of the gate somewhat quickly. Now, the defense has had a great first half. They've been aided by a Allen Robinson drop touchdown catch and a Cooper Kupp drop touchdown catch, the latter of which is something that, we see almost as commonly as Haley Bop Comet. Cooper Kupp doesn't drop balls. So the Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp drops have helped the Cardinals stay in this game for sure. And the offense looked terrible in the first quarter. Just looked terrible. They were on the field for 4 minutes of the first quarter. They looked very uninspired. And then they have 2 long drives. It's like, where the hell has that been? Why wait? Why are you spotting the opposing team 10 points before waking up? It's frustrating because what you saw from Hollywood Brown in the second quarter, it's like, okay, now you can kind of validate not drafting an offensive lineman, not drafting an edge rusher in the first round, and trading for Hollywood Brown. It looks like everything that we thought could possibly be with Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown is happening. Hollywood Brown, 8 catches for 87 yards. He's getting open. They're starting to kind of get there. And that's very important because Hollywood Brown's going to want a contract at the end of the season. Remember, he shares an agent with DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, and Deebo Samuel, all 3 of whom did not play the extent of the rookie scale contract before getting the big contract extension this offseason. So if Hollywood Brown starts to really show that he has wide receiver 1 potential with DeAndre Hopkins out, and then he comes back and you have he and Hop playing side by side, this offense could be crazy scary. So that's the real nice light bulb moment from the first half is, Hollywood Brown, it's going to work. It's going to work. Zach Ertz looked fine. Greg Dortch had the great catch before halftime that set up the field goal. But I can't stop but continue to go back to the starts. Why does this team sleepwalk through the first quarter of every game so far this year? Why? The defense holding them, and I know that, again, helped by a couple drop touchdown passes, but holding them to 13 points is a testament to this team getting better on the defensive side of the ball. Marco Wilson has probably had his best first half as a pro. Zaven Collins is mucking it up, even though there was a face mask that wasn't called, and he had a late hit on Darrell Henderson that wasn't called, but he's playing better. Isaiah Simmons got burned on the Cooper Kupp drop. No harm, no foul. People aren't going to remember that down the stretch. But the defense is starting to show signs that they can stop some teams. It's not perfect, and they're not supposed to be the strength of this team. But I'll tell you what, during the first half and during last game completely, they look like the more stable side of the ball again. The defense has been the more stable side of the ball for the Arizona Cardinals since Kyler Murray was drafted, since Cliff Kingsbury's been hired. Sure, the offense has more razzle-dazzle. It's like, well, no, obviously the offense, it's Kyler Murray, it's Cliff Kingsbury. No. The defensive side of the ball has been more stable. They've been more trustworthy. And what we saw from the Cardinals with the 2 first 3 and outs is this offense still has a ways to go. And the problem is we don't know what's wrong. We don't know what's wrong with the offense. Yeah, for sure. DeAndre Hopkins suspended, AJ Green hurt, Rondale Moore hurt. Get it, for sure. But it doesn't seem like that's the problem, because when everybody's healthy, like they were last year, 3-and-outs have still been a problem. Since 2019, when Cliff Kingsbury took over, 35-second 3-and-outs has been an epidemic in the Arizona Cardinals offensive, locker room, offensive war room. And we don't really understand why. Is it Cliff? Is it Kyler? Is it the offensive line? Don't know. But it's a scheme thing. And say what you want about Cliff. I've been riding Cliff pretty hard this first half. The Cardinals haven't scored in the first quarter. And those are the times that Cliff Kingsbury scripts the offensive plays. Those are the times where he scripts the offensive plays, watching film on opposing defenses, and he's like, these are the best plays to start the game. I'm going to script them. And the Cardinals can't score when he does it. And that's terrifying for the future. Having said that, Cardinals are down 13-6. Okay. They've won the time of possession battle. They were on the field for seemingly the whole second quarter. They were on the field for at least 11 minutes in the second quarter, which is a huge step up. I just don't understand why it takes getting smacked in the mouth for them to wake up and start playing Cardinals football. So a couple stats here, like Matthew Stafford came out hot, but hasn't really done a whole lot. 11 for 17, 140 yards. Cooper Kupp scored on a rushing attempt, his first rushing touchdown. Cooper Kupp only has 33 yards receiving. Like, the defense is doing a good job. But on the other side, the Cardinals, Benjamin is leading the team with 9 rushing yards. If you're going to throw the ball, just do it. Just do it. Drop back, have Kyler Murray throw the ball 45 times. I trust that at this point more than trust Cliff Kingsbury infusing the rushing attack into the passing attack. So if the Cardinals want to come out and get a victory at home in a weird way, because it looked like they were going to be laughed out of the arena, laughed out of the stadium after a quarter again. But they're within striking distance. Great last drive. And they can win this game. And I know, Gregor, Jesus. About Greg Dortch, listen. Whatever works, man. And now he's thrust into action with AJ Green out. They have no wide receivers over 5'10", I think. Where's Trey McBride? If anybody can find Trey McBride, point him out to me. I think he was on the field for a couple snaps in the first half. He's tall. He's big. Wasn't he the best tight end to come out of the draft? Didn't they draft him over an edge rusher, an offensive lineman, or a corner that the Cardinals desperately needed? Use him. I don't get why they're not using the talent that they have when people are hobbled. Yeah, look at the wide receivers. Absolutely. Zach Ertz is the most reliable pass catcher the Cardinals have. Hollywood Brown had his best half as an Arizona Cardinal. But Zach Ertz is Old Faithful, except for he couldn't catch a screamer from Kyler Murray in the end zone. Like, they need to figure out how to put up points on the offensive side of the ball. The defense is doing as good of a job as humanly possible with the skills that they have. The offense needs to do their job. And I'm pretty ready to say, you know what? Just let Kyler do it. Because Cliff Kingsbury is completely incapable of calling the correct plays. First and goal from the 5 in a must-score situation. Flanks Kyler Murray out. The fact that any coach with his history thinks taking the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands and having James Conner as the only one in the backfield on a first and goal when you need to score, that's the definition of insanity that frustrates me so much. He calls the offense like they are undefeated and that he's never lost a game and that he knows everything. He knows the right thing to do at all times. Trust me, I got this. He doesn't. And it frustrates the hell out of me. If you can't do the simple things well, you're not going to win jack. There are more positives. The Cardinals had 3 penalties for 30 yards. One was holding on the second to last play on Hollywood Brown, where Kyler Murray needed a little extra time. DJ Humphries held. Like, those aren't on the coach. Holding are not on the coach. Okay? He managed his timeouts. Cliff did very well. And little wins here. Moving forward, Cliff Kingsbury needs to be better. Kyler Murray needs to be better. He had a couple terrible play calls. He had a couple terrible decisions in the first half. But in the third quarter especially, I trust that the defense is going to level up like they did in the second quarter. And if the Cardinals can get a 3-and-out, go down and score a touchdown, the Cardinals will have all of the momentum. And that's something they cannot waste, especially at home, especially against a division rival, and especially with first place in the NFC West on the table. Thanks for hanging out. Second half's about to kick off. Remember to check out the post-game. I do a live post-game show. My Monday podcast will be Sunday, at 4:30 or 5 o'clock local time. Check me out, YouTube, Twitter Spaces. Thanks for hanging out. Second half